very, very exciting time.
Well, I'm excited for you to, I think what I'm really honored about, Jeff, is that, and I hope that you can really share tonight with everybody. I know a lot of people were just on Cheryl's call, and I don't have your bio right here in front of me. But I think the biggest thing for me is that for everybody to really get like what a gift it is that of the thousands and thousands of people around the world that you're taking the time to specifically share with this team, you know, at the beginning of the year, and for people to really, you know, get that, you know, I keep you, there are a couple things that you say to me, but I think the biggest one again is like the whole strike while the iron's hot. But I was sharing today with everybody on the call, our earlier leadership call was the one, you know, little sticky note I have on my computer is that whole, you know, what do I need to do to make this business a bigger priority? And, you know, I shared with everybody, my whole thing is I'm very big on block times. And I know we're not getting to the call quite yet. I want to introduce you, but I was saying, you know, for years, everybody knows that my time is 10 to 2. I hunker down from 10 to 2. That's what I do. I put my goggles on and I swim. And then I go and I make sure I do the quality time things with Asher from 2 to 4. Then I'm back on from 4 to 6. So I've really learned from you so many things that have not just helped me with regards to this business, but with regards to my life. So let's go ahead and get started. I know we have people still coming on. There's about 56 people on right now. And so I know that we're having a lot more that are coming. I'm sure we'll be at like 100 in just a minute. But welcome everybody to tonight's event. I don't know who that is, the person that's just right there. I don't know who. Hello, could you mute yourself so I can get Jeff on the screen? That would be awesome. Anyway, welcome to tonight's event. I'm beyond excited to have my dear friend, Jeff Roberti, on with us this evening. A little bit of the story, the backstory that some of you might not know is I've known Jeff for, gosh, I met him in 1990, December 1990. And I was told, my friend Tom Landers told me that there was a party that was taking place in Memphis, Tennessee, and that I should go to this party in Memphis, Tennessee. My friend Tom had shared with me this water filter, and he shared with me the water filter, even though I was working 4 jobs in Southern California. He shared this with me, but he said, there's this big party, lots of nice young guys that are gonna be at this big party in Memphis. I'm like, okay, I'll go. I flew People's Express to Memphis, Tennessee, showed up, and I remember, I'll never forget, Jeff, you were standing there with Dan Caddo and Dwayne Davis, and you were standing at the steps of the at the Peabody Hotel. And you know, you went to this party and had a really great time. And then you actually said, are you here for the conference? And I'm like, what conference? And you're like, oh, you should come to this conference the next day. And so, you know, Tom, as I went to the conference, I took notes like crazy. But I did, unfortunately, what most people do. I did that kind of shelf help. I dreamed about all these things. I'm like, oh my gosh, I would love to make $5,000 a month and build a team around the world and do this and do that. And I went home and I did nothing. You know, I let other people be my dream stealers of what was possible. And I went back just the way that life was. But you are, I think that the biggest, you know, as I share with you, I think what you really teach is that long-term relationships equal long-term success. And so I was, you've always kept in touch. Jeff kept in touch with me as a friend. I would see him at different personal development events. And the biggest change was 18 and a half years ago when you were a member of the Platinum Partnership, and you can't call Jan Avant to find out if I had had my baby. And I see 2 dozen red roses show up at my door, and it was the strangest thing because the first person I thought about was you, and we weren't even super great friends. And those red roses were from you. And there was a note that said, congratulations on your baby boy. And that note I still have to this day. And so 11 years ago, when you happened to be at that program, and you can share a little bit of what happened when you grabbed the handcuffs and you said that was it. But I am eternally grateful for you. And I hope everybody on the line really realizes your courage and your faith and your resolve to say, that's it. I love you enough to like I got to share this with you. We're all on the line because Jeff had that moment, you know, that 30 seconds of courage that we all talk about. And Jeff can share his story, but as you guys might know, he was a broke waiter at 24 years old. and he'll share a little bit of what's happening now. He is the #1 income earner in the history of direct sales, not just within Juice Plus itself. But the reason why I said yes to Jeff was not just because of that and because of his amazing relationships that he built, but he stayed in the game. You know, he didn't say, you know, here I've, you know, achieved all of this success and now I'm just going to sit back and do it. He was always, you know, for him, it's his passion. And I just love I wanted to be able to give the way that Jeff, you know, gave to organizations. I saw just his generous spirit, and I'm blessed to call him not just, you know, our upline, but truly one of my best friends in the world. And we always, you know, hear, you know, who you surround yourself with is who you become. So choose wisely. And so, like I said, that one sticky note that sits in front of me every day on my computer is, what do I need to do to make this business a bigger priority? And that's when, for me, it was hunker down time. But, you know, super thankful, Jeff. I'm gonna let you take it from here. And I'm also gonna ask, make a little request of you, is just, you know, you guys tonight, really don't just sit there and listen, really take notes. Don't wait for us to post this and hear it, you know, hear it later, you know, the recording of it. Take notes and really think about, what are the 2-3 things of the action that you're going to take after this call? And so I'm going to pass it on over to you, Jeff, and let you do your magic. Are you there? Whoops.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Can you,
it's been quite an exciting day with all these calls, and I'm glad you like my green screen and my background now. I'm very proud of that. I'm becoming a little more tech savvy now. But you know, Lauren, my story goes back all the way 30 some years ago. And like you said, I was a broke 24-year-old waiter. I didn't have a higher education, I didn't have any experience, I didn't have any money, didn't have any background. But the one thing that I had is I was hungry. You find somebody that's hungry, that has a desire, they're willing to work, they're teachable. And I was looking for some things to change in my life. And I'll never forget the late, great Jim Rohn saying, you know, Jeff, for things to change, you got to change. And for things to get better, you got to get better. You can have more in life if you become more in life and see not things the way they are, but the way they can become. And so I was a customer first. Somebody cared enough about me to share with me the product. I loved the product, became a raving fan customer. Found out there was an opportunity. I saw average people are in above average incomes. And I thought to myself, if they can do it, I can do it. This is my chance. So I came home and ripped up my list of excuses and said, look, Jeff, you can either make excuses or you can make money, but you can't make both. And, you know, I didn't look up on, I didn't look down on, I looked in the mirror and said, you know what, why don't you raise your standards, step up, hold yourself accountable, be the best distributor in your organization, lead by example. Don't take this thing for granted, work it with a sense of urgency, a fear of loss, and go out there and do something great. And like I shared on Cheryl's call, yes, financially, it's been unbelievable. Financial independence, residual income, quality of life, time freedom. But the biggest blessing has been the relationships, all the love and connection, the growth, the personal development. You're the happiest in life when you're growing and there's progress, and the contribution side of it, you know, doing something that counts, something that matters, something that you're making a difference in the world, you know, loving what you do, adding value to people's lives. So it's very, very exciting. I started back then, Lauren, it was out of desperation. Today, it's strictly out of inspiration to pay it forward and never forget where you came from. My message tonight's pretty simple. It's New Year's. It's New Year's resolutions, guys. There's a buzz in the air right now because on the top of everyone's list has to do something with health. I want to be healthier. I want to look better, feel better, lose weight, eat more fruits and vegetables. Whatever it is, I want to take self-responsibility for my health. We answer that at a very high level. Number two is wealth. People want to do better financially than they did last year. And we have an opportunity for people to take self-responsibility for their own financial future. A chance to be your own boss, earn what you're worth, build your dream, you know, for yourself instead of working for someone else. So we meet those two needs at a very, very high level. And if you look at the timing, the awareness of fruits and vegetables and whole food nutrition, and the fact that Juice Plus has been out there now for over 25 years, and it's the most research published nutraceutical product in the world. There's nobody that has this type of research and science behind it. And $15 billion in sales, and a 50-year-old company behind it. And then you look at the timing of what we have today with the tool called social media, and how you can get the story out to more people through technology. I mean, you're talking about a dream. You're talking about an opportunity.
But Jeff, I have a question. I'm gonna interrupt for a second. Why do you think people don't just go for it? You've been around for 31, 32 years, and look, we've all got the same resources. We've all got the same things. But I see a lot. We've seen a lot of people come and go. We've seen a lot of things. I mean, I hear things. I'd love for you just to be a little real and raw with everybody about, look, here's what's gonna happen, and how they can really walk out bulletproof.
I can be real and raw with you and explain to you how this business works. It's called 80, 15, and 5. What does that mean, Jeff? 80, 15, and 5. 80% of the people that I put on the product or put into the business are going to do it part-time, sometime, or no time. That's just how it is. 15% are going to play at a little higher level, maybe go up to a VF or SC, but less than 5% are really going to step up and play at the level that you and I play at, Lauren. And that's just the way it is. Jim Rohn, if you listen to his audio, How to Build Your Network Marketing Business, he calls it's called safety in numbers, the law of averages. There's a batting average. And I understand that as I go out and start talking to people and start putting on customers and putting on new team members, that the majority of them are just going to hang around the flagpole. And I love them whether they do a little or a lot. And I keep them engaged. I keep them hanging around. And you never know when things are going to change in their lives, where they might go from an 80%er to a 15%er, and then possibly a 5%er. So it works the same way for me as it does for you. I might have to put 100 people in the funnel. If, let's say I got a funnel, a pipeline, I might have to put 100 in to get 3 or 4 good ones. That's just how it works. But you're going to have a lot of people doing a little. I have a lot of customers, hundreds of thousands of customers that are on auto ship in the downline, and that adds up. But less than 5% really step up and play at the level we play at. And that's how it works. And sometimes you get discouraged because you want everyone to be a 5%er. And that's just isn't how it works, Lauren.
So then that once again goes back to what you and Cheryl showed me the first time. I think it's really, I'm a very creative person. I remember the reason you got so frustrated with me was you're like, okay, when you've got all these creative ideas, and they're like, I remember seeing you. I remember once we were in Palm Springs and we're sitting outside, and I'm like, oh, we should do this and we could do that. And you just smiled at me. And then I remember like going, okay, I sat down with you and Cheryl and I said, okay, Jeff, just tell me what I need to do. And that's when, Cheryl was talking again about keeping it really simple, because I think that, we get paid to put on customers, put on distributors, create raving fans, and wash and repeat. And that's when I really listened to you. And I want everybody to really hear the importance, if you could talk about the importance of really going wide with your business. Could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's called the production stage. And when you're in the production stage, you produce. Every day you put on new customers, and every day you build new team. So you consistently go out there and produce yourself. What happens is people get comfortable. They fall into what I call the comfort zone, and they get a few people on their team, and they fall into what's called the management zone, the management phase, where they just manage people and they stop producing. So you've got to consistently, the fun part of the business is always putting on new customers yourself, always building new team yourself. That's where the excitement is. That's where the juice is. And you know what? And some are going to do it. Some are going to be 5%ers. Most of them are going to be 80 and 15%ers. And that's just the way it is. But you enjoy the journey. You enjoy the process as you're going through it. And you understand that there is that safety in numbers, the law of averages, and that batting average. It's like baseball. If you go up and swing the bat in baseball and you strike out 7 out of 10 times, and you only hit the ball 3 out of 10 times, they pay you $4 or $5 million a year. You don't have to bat 1,000%. So I never got caught up, even with you, Lauren. Let's take you as an example. You said no to me for years, but I went on and talked to tens of thousands of other people in the meantime. I still kept you on my drip list. I still loved you. I still cared about you, but I didn't sit there and beg you or try to convince you. I kept moving forward. And what happens is sometimes people say too much to too few people. Say less to more. Don't beg people. Don't try to convince them. You share the story with them. You share the facts. You share what our company's about, what our product's about, what our opportunity's about. And if they're not interested, put them on the drip list. Keep dripping on them, but keep moving forward. You've got to be talking to 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 new people every day. And that's where the excitement is. That's where the juice is.
Awesome. I'm sorry. That's awesome. I would love if everybody puts anything in the chat box that they'd also love to talk about. You've also seen stages, right, that people go through as well, and what happened. You know, like I know that I started in the during the recession, right? I mean, it was a great time to start, but I love what Cheryl always says. There's only two kinds of people: people who need money, people who want more of it. So could you share a little? Huh?
Yeah, I know. It's funny.
And it doesn't mean like for just like ego purposes, but you know, like I want to contribute more. I want to give more. I want, like, you know, I mean, that's what you, and I love what you always said. You helped me change my beliefs as well about money. And you said money is just a direct reflection of how many people that you've helped. So I was like, well, I want to help a crap load of people. Right. So, let's see what someone's got here. I'd love to know some questions that maybe you guys might have for Jeff as well. But
well, go
ahead.
Can I jump in, Lauren?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the way I look at it, Lauren, is as your income grows, as your check starts to grow, it's a measuring stick. And it's a measuring stick of the amount of lives you've touched, the impact, the difference you've made, not only with our product, but also with our opportunity. So, you know, the bigger difference you make in the world, your income starts to grow, whether it's with the product or the opportunity. So I look at that as a direct reflection of the amount of lives that I've been able to touch.
And Jeff, now over the years, you've been, I know that you have been approached by lots of different other businesses, right? Like I remember when you were at the Eric Roy, the 6-figure income event, and that you were the only person that was standing up, you and the guy, Robert Hollis. And Eric said, you know, he asked you, you know, what's the difference? And you said you picked a horse and you stuck with it. You found a great company with a great mission, right? Could you share a little bit about that too? Because I think lots of times sometimes people get frustrated, right? The amount of effort that you're putting in the very beginning doesn't equal maybe the financial rewards, but later it flips with that way. So could you share a little bit about that maybe?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I've been very fortunate, one of the things that I understood in the very beginning, I'll never forget when I asked Jim Rohn, I said, what do you look for in a company? He says, well, you've got to have a product or a service that you believe in. You've got to have a marketing system that's fair, that's legitimate. But the biggest thing you look for is the leadership, the people running the company. And one of the best days of my life was the day I met a guy named Jay Martin. I mean, Jay's been running this company now for almost 50 years, the same president and founder. So to stay with one company for over 30 years has been a great decision through good times and bad times. So what happens is people think the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, but it still has to be mowed. You still have to get customers. You still have to get distributors. You still have to build relationships. What you want to do is when you find a company like Juice Plus, a product like Juice Plus, this type of leadership, this type of opportunity, you stay put, you stay focused. You put on what I call blinders. You don't get distracted with what everything else that's going on out there. And that is how you build a successful business, is you find something you truly believe in, you stay focused, you're blinded.
Somebody's Carla,
Sorry.
Rose, please mute your line. Yep. Sorry. Carla, could you mute your line?
I don't know how to do that. Sorry.
Sorry, Jeff.
No problem.
You know, a couple questions that are happening in here, which, you know, I don't know if people are saying, you know, how do you keep yourself going strong? You know, how did you strengthen your why? How did you create your culture? Maybe you could talk about that as well.
Well, I could get into a whole elaborate training, and it's all over the internet. You guys can listen to it, but you know, I believe the how part of the business is the easy part. You know, really, it's 80% mindset, 20% mechanics. You got to get the right mindset, the right psychology. When I say the right mindset, why are you doing the business? Reasons come first. Why are you doing it? Is there something that's emotionally charged? Something that has a compelling future? Something that's going to get you up early, keep you up late? You're going to put in that extra 10% effort that's going to produce 90% of the results? Because I can tell you this, in the beginning, you're going to put in 10 hours worth of work for 1 hour worth of pay. And let me repeat that. In the beginning, you're going to be like, Jeff, I'm working so hard, I'm putting in 10 hours worth of work, but I'm only getting 1 hour worth of pay. If you do it consistently long enough, eventually it'll switch. You'll be getting paid 10 hours for 1 hour. Or in my case, you might be getting paid $1 million for 1 hour. You know, it changes, it shifts because it starts to grow geometrically, your business, your downline.
Yep. And it's funny, I remember it's 5 years ago this last November. And I remember, and it was before even anything was happening in Australia. And I remember I got my check and I said to Cheryl, I go, oh my God, there's like been a mistake, Cheryl. And she goes, what do you mean? What happened? I go, well, my paycheck, it went up 50%. And she goes, you've hit liftoff, baby. Right. And so there, like you said, like there was that point that things were, I think that, you know, things were stable, and like there are points, right, where you're going to get frustrated, but that frustration, you know, you're about to make a breakthrough, and it keeps you hungry. What keeps you hungry?
Well, my why today, and I've got to jump off because I got another call here at 10
No
o'clock.
worries.
But my why today, Lauren, is different than it was when I started. It's evolved. My why back then was out of desperation. I was broke. I was hungry. I needed things in my life to change financially. So I came into this business to make a fortune, to become financially independent. Today, it's not out of desperation. It's out of inspiration. Never forget where you came from. Pay it forward. You know, there's somebody on this call tonight. Maybe they're just launching their business and they get to hear from you and I, and then they say, well, man, wow, maybe this is my chance. Maybe there's an opportunity here for me going into a new year, 2019, health and nutrition, whole food nutrition, Juice Plus, an opportunity to have my own home-based business, start part-time and work my way up the marketing system. So today it's to pay it forward, to never forget where you came from, and to always stay in the game out of inspiration, to retire into your business, not from your business.
So one final thing, I know you got to get off the call. I know you got to go in just a second. One last marching order for everybody on this call, no matter where they're at in their business. And I know you got to get off to call number 7.
That is a great question, and it's a great way to close the call. I believe that there's a thing called a call to action, a sense of urgency, and there's a chance to seize the moment. It's easier to go fast than it is slow. It's easier to be successful in life and make a fortune than it was making a living. And back in when I started 30 some years ago, Lauren, I had what I would call a breakthrough. I'll never forget. I came home that night and, you know, everybody was laughing at me and my sponsor quit and this and that. And I said, you know what? That's it. Enough's enough. I've hit a threshold. I've hit a breaking point. I've hit a moment in time, a defining moment. I am no longer going to live like this. I am sick and tired of being broke and being behind on my bills in life and my promises in life and living like this. And I ripped up that list of excuses, Lauren, and decided that I was going to raise my standards and play at a higher level and hold myself accountable. Distributors watch the feet, not the lips. They don't do what you tell them to do. They do what you do. And so my marching orders, my call to action to you is don't take this for granted. Don't get off the call tonight and just do it whatever. I mean, get serious. You could go the next 90 days, January, February, March, and roll it into our big April conference, the next 90 days, and work this thing. And I was working 18, 20 hours a day back in my 20s. Was it worth it? Absolutely was it worth it. Absolutely. Because now I'm in the place that I can say yes to things that are truly important when I said no to some of the things that really weren't that important back then. And so my encouragement to you, no matter where you're at in life, you could be a busy mom or whatever it is, whatever hours you can put in, it's flexible. You can do it part-time, sometime, full-time, whatever it is, you can build your way up in the marketing system. But you have a chance to build something here, especially right now, Lauren, with this buzz in the air, with New Year's resolutions, and everyone wanting to improve their health and improve their wealth and their prosperity, and you've got the answer. You just got to get out there and talk to people. You got to tell the story. And today with social media, this powerful tool that we have, it makes it easy for you to get the story out to a lot of people versus just talking to people one-on-one. So you do a combination of things. You know, you do a little bit of everything. You get creative, you get innovative. You've got a job to do. You figure out how you get to talk to more people and build up a growing customer base and build a team. So that'll be my final.
Awesome. So everybody tear off your list of excuses. We'll see you guys at boot camp at the end of the month. Jeff, we'll see you here in Las Vegas, sold out boot camp. We've got about, probably like 50, 60 people from this team that are going to be there. So let's make Jeff Roberti proud, you guys. Come on, let's do it. Now's our time. Let's help lots of people. Bye, everybody. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Lauren. Bye-bye.